Well, I'm here. I didn't think I'd be here.
We're glad you're here.
It'd be wild if you just got the call like right in the middle of the episode, though.
Yeah, do you have your phone in front of you? Just
I
in
do.
case? Okay.
I do. So yeah, I thought my baby would be here, but she's still in the oven.
What's the warning sign? Like, she's just gonna feel it.
I mean, I'm learning all this as I go too, but yeah, I used to think it was this whole thing where like all of a sudden it's like emergency run to the hospital, but it seems to be this, progression of contractions and signs that you look for, and pain increases, length of contractions increase, and the frequency increases until the point where there's like a 411 rule, I believe, that you look for. And then at that point, you go to the hospital.
She hasn't even started.
No, nothing. So the due date they make up is just, I was telling Nick before we recorded, it's just like, it's astrology. It's just, they
That's what I
just,
think about milk.
it's,
I feel like that
The
date
expiration
of milk
date?
is just it's just arbitrary.
sometimes it gets it really right though. Like you open it that day, like my half and half for coffee, and I smell it. I'm like, oh yeah, today's the day.
I push it like another 6 days.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
It's
I
just a suggestion.
think all the expiration dates are just complete nonsense. I feel like they're just myths.
Dude, expiration dates for medicine, what a joke. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's just the efficacy's like reduced. Like, big deal. Like, give it to me.
Yeah, give me 80.
And then you
I'll
go
take
to that
25.
like bargain outlet in downtown, and everything's expired. And it's like, oh, that's why it's so cheap.
Indeed. So I'm here. I don't know if I'll be here on Friday, and definitely probably not next Wednesday. But yeah, just a reminder for everyone. Did I just push a button of some kind? Yeah, we're good. So we did our first YouTube live episode. Those come out on the podcast on Monday, but you can get it on YouTube on Friday, and you can join us live at 9:30 a.m. And it was fun for me.
Yeah.
And everyone who was there seemed to really love it. So there
lots
was
of questions.
even questions. Like we got to engage and became a discussion. So we got some chart porn. It was a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
it was a great time.
Got to share some stats.
Nothing
Yeah.
crashed.
Yeah,
Right.
nothing crashed.
It's true.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
actually.
So hello to everyone watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
We don't have favorite listeners, but if we did, maybe they're on YouTube.
I
don't
have
know.
favorites. Speak for yourself. All right. So, and one last thing. ETH Denver. Just one more announcement about that it's happening. We're hosting an event, hanging out at a bar. Come have a beer with us. If you're into crypto at all, or you just want to meet crypto people or start getting involved in Web3, I think it's a great event. Even if you don't have a ticket, lots of little happy hours and events happening around Denver. It's a good time. I went for the first time last year, and I think we all did for the first time last year.
Yeah.
It was a great time. So yeah, hop in the Discord. All the links to everything we just mentioned are below, the YouTube and Discord and everything. Cool. So what happened to Kevin Rose today?
So yeah, Kevin Rose got hacked. It's pretty messed up.
The fuck happened?
What do you lose?
He lost a lot. He did not lose his ape, or not his ape, his zombie punk, because it can't be sold on OpenSea due to the ancientness of the contract, unfortunately.
We're talking $2 million worth of NFTs and rap. There's some rap deeds.
Is that the exact number? Or
I don't
is
know
it-
if it's exact number, but I think like it's 25 squiggles.
It's a lot.
There was
Oh,
something,
yeah, the squiggles.
Oh, the autoglyph is like
Forgot about the
355.
It wasn't this stuff at some point probably worth like 20 million?
I don't know. Well, I don't know.
yeah.
Maybe some of those.
I mean,
retail-
my NFT portfolio's down, 90%. So I hope his is.
Yeah, I'm sure his is down. I'm sure his is down big. But so he lost $2 million. The key here is that he had his shit on a hardware wallet, most likely, and he still got rugged.
And this is the part I want to dig into and understand, because
He's no amateur.
yeah, it's very, 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 very bad that it would happen to Kevin Rose. It's a terrible signal to anyone who's not dabbling with NFTs, because it's like, wait a second, this guy runs a project worth $100 million. Ideally, he
literally
knows what
runs
the
an
fuck he's
NFT
doing.
company.
Yeah.
And he's getting,
raised, I think, $50 or to $100 million. I'm totally ballparking, but he's raised a lot of money for the Moonbirds.
He's also
company.
not an amateur entrepreneur. I mean, he's a
Right.
successful entrepreneur.
He's a very technical guy. He's got a programming background. He's got a programming background. I just remembered that.
Holy
he can
shit.
program.
He'd be the guy you ask, like, hey, Kevin, can you just give me a rundown? What's the best practices on how to store my NFTs? He'd be the guy you ask.
He's answered that question for 1,000 people,
Yeah.
I bet already.
Brutal.
So, what goes wrong is really the question. Like, how is this technology and this space and the rails and the infrastructure. It's the application layer ultimately, right? That's where a lot of this is happening. It's not the fundamentals, it's the application layer.
Or like the UX.
It's both. Like ETH needs account abstraction. That's a thing that has to happen sort of at the fundamental layer. But even in the absence of that, yeah, the wallet tech and the interfaces and the apps, it sucks.
Yeah,
It's bad.
We were talking before we started recording and realized Eric's mic wasn't plugged into the, plugged into to record. That there's all this cryptography going on to keep all of your assets safe, but there's still a user error potentially. And like if you look at hacks that happen on a corporate espionage level, or just like people stealing funds from corporations and people getting access to admin, it's usually not some technical code hack backdoor. It's actually just social engineering, getting someone to do something that they didn't intend to do, whether it's share a password or grant someone access. And this is the case with Kevin. I think he signed a transaction that granted rights to bundle a bunch of NFTs in one transaction. I don't know exactly what happened from there. They haven't given the full
But
debrief
I mean,
yet.
dude,
But
if he can do it, anybody can do
You can
it.
have
like I'm
anyone.
screwed. I'm
Right.
completely fucked.
All of us. Like,
Like-
none of us are programmers.
There's
Steven
no
just started.
way.
Like there's no
Like,
way we're
he
at Kevin Rose's
signed a
level.
transaction. You know how many goddamn transactions I sign? Like nobody sits and looks in detail at every single action that they take. And if that's what's required to be safe in crypto, then this whole thing is fucked. It's not going to work like this.
yeah, Ryan Adams from Bankless put a tweet up saying, imagine you go to the grocery store and use your credit card and you have a risk of losing all your money in your bank account because you did a transaction at a grocery store on your credit card. Like that's essentially what he was doing. He was doing a basic transaction. Now all his money's gone. Like that can't work. And I thought that was a good analogy in terms of that's essentially what happened, and that cannot exist at a massive
So amazing. All this, ownership that is so important to people in crypto just keeps on biting us in the ass. All of this self-custody, all this desire to own and control your keys and your assets is the reason
The responsibility is way too high.
It's high, and this has always been your take. This has
Like,
always been your
you can't
feeling.
onboard mainstream. Like we have this idea that like this is going to reach the masses. It can't. This instantiation of crypto cannot reach the masses. There's no chance.
So somebody has to be responsible for these assets.
I think it has I think really all the focus has to be on UX. Like make this shit usable for regulars. Like if Kevin Rose is getting just rugged, how is anybody going to use this stuff?
And it's funny because right now, if I'm Kevin Rose, I'm like contacting OpenSea and being like, Mark, I'm going to ask the centralized authority,
Right.
mark those as stolen. Do not let
Save
them
me.
sell
Yeah.
that. Save me. And that it's not necessarily a foolproof plan because the hacker can certainly sell it on another platform. But
And in many ways, that goes against the ethos of crypto. To
Right.
ask
Yeah,
someone
of
to
course.
do that, the answer should be like, sorry, bud.
excuse me, FBI.
Like, no one can help you.
It's
no
not
one
a,
should be.
Yeah,
able
but
to help.
NFTs aren't crypto.
They are.
Come on.
If they're not
not.
crypto,
Yes,
then
they
I'm in the
are,
wrong.
dude.
Like, what does that mean?
The whole premise of the NFT project is that like the value is created by some centralized person, right? Like at Yuga Labs, right? Apes are only valuable because there's these two guys who just sit around and like spend a bunch of money marketing the apes. It's not fucking decentralized, right?
I'm sorry. If
99.99%
NFTs are not crypto, then DeFi is
I
not
would
crypto.
argue the opposite.
That makes no
I
sense.
said it.
I get
no
Steven,
sense.
I think I get Steven's argument, but I think he's like inverting the Bitcoiner argument. He's like Bitcoiners say that Bitcoin isn't crypto and that all the rest of the shit is. So like by that definition,
Fine.
You know,
By
like,
that definition.
I actually agree with Steven by that definition. He just like argued for the inverse of that.
But crypto is crypto. Crypto is all of this. Like,
cri-
let's just be like,
Crypto is like a lot of things. It is not entirely about decentralization. You don't need decentralization for your cute penguin picture. You just don't.
But in order to say
It's just a
that
cute
you
penguin
own
picture.
this, you need like cryptography and crypto economics.
Sure,
to
but that's a
make-
totally different thing. So transparency can be like you could have centralized transparency, and the transparency and the openness of the system can still be good.
this is semantics overload for me. We would have to sit and define each of these terms.
No, it's
and
not
get
semantics.
into it.
David is listening right now, and he's just not, he's sad about this
Because
semantic-
everyone defines these terms differently. If you're just looking at outside looking in, crypto, cool, it's all this stuff. Like, what do you mean by this definition?
This is not like a new thing. There's a spectrum of decentralization, right? Like Bitcoiners
Sure
want to say like, oh, it's fucking Bitcoin, everything all your shit. That's how I imagine all Bitcoiners talk, which is obviously stupid. There's like a spectrum of decentralization, and there's a spectrum we should care about depending on what we're doing. Like if I want to put a like $1 billion of ETH and borrow against it, like maybe I really want to make sure that Aave is completely decentralized and that I can audit all the smart contracts and stuff, right? If I'm just speculating on a dumb JPEG, I probably care a lot less about how immutable and decentralized and irreversible this stuff is.
I think that's just like because we view NFTs as this version of NFTs as dumb JPEGs, but
Yeah.
NFTs could be identity. It could be like could represent like your
And you
driver's
would need
license, your
those
crypto
crypto
and you need
fundamentals.
cryptography behind
Yeah.
that, backing that up.
There's a difference between like cryptography that like we're talking about NFTs. The vast majority of NFTs are not going to be decentralized. Can we just like get that
I
out of the
I'm
way?
not
Yeah,
worried
that-
about decentralization though with this. We're just defining.
Well, you're saying like, oh, it's like so against the ethos of crypto to do that, and I'm like, yeah, not really. It's like it is if you just sort of broadly say crypto, and like, but like NFTs to me are not exactly crypto. Like there's a difference between NFTs and Bitcoin, between NFTs and like,
All right.
you know, like a hardcore DeFi app versus like a gaming app, and like there's a difference even within NFTs between like CryptoPunks.
every
and-
time a new ecosystem is created within crypto, that argument exists.
Well, let's can we go back to like how not to get rugged by Kevin, because he was a sophisticated player. Steven, I know you have a few like tips in terms of like transacting, minting, even selling. Like, what are some of the things that how do we not make this same mistake?
It's very simple, actually. You just don't keep all of your assets in one place and then sign transactions and wallets that hold stuff unnecessarily, right? Especially with NFTs, right? You want to buy an NFT, you send ETH to like a fresh wallet. You want to mint an NFT, you send ETH to a fresh wallet. You sign the contract there, you get the NFT, and then you send it back to your cold wallet. Don't be keeping NFTs and then signing in transactions for NFTs in the same wallet. It doesn't matter if you have a hardware wallet or a hot wallet on your computer or what. If you sign the wrong transaction, you're fucked. Like people think they use a hardware wallet and they're just like have this suit of armor on them. We tell like, it's bad, right? It's like the football problem, how like we put all the pads on the football players and that just makes them like run into each other. It's like some like, I don't know, moral hazard issue or whatever you want to call it. Like people almost are more reckless because they think they have the protection of the hardware wallet because everybody's like hardware wallet. It doesn't matter. You got to segregate your stuff. Like the more you break apart your assets, like, and this goes for DeFi stuff too. Like you want to try some new DeFi farm? Cool. Don't put 10K in the DeFi farm where you have $3 million of ETH sitting there in like cold. Don't do that. Send it to a separate wallet and interact with the stuff there. Just always be cognizant of interacting with like signatures for stuff that you don't absolutely know on
I just think that
fresh
like
wallets.
I appreciate your expertise on this, right? Because that is the way to be safe. But that's not the way for this shit to actually grow to mainstream. Like that's my problem with it. Like you can't just like be wearing 19 condoms every time you go like do anything. It's like imagine you want to trade on a DeFi app that you're familiar with. Like imagine you want to use Quenta, right? Like you're going to trade using the money you have, right? So you're like you want that money to be on Quenta, but you're signing something that you know you might be getting fished or whatever, and it's like at any moment now everything that's on that wall is fucked. Like this is a problem. It's not like a user issue. It's like an industry problem.
There was a friend I was helping during the bull market buy some NFTs, and I told him to set up a fresh wallet to interact with OpenSea and do all this, and I walked him through it. And when he was setting it up, there was like a major fee on OpenSea to set up a new wallet, right? I forget exactly what it's called, but there's a fee associated, and it was
Especially when
big
gas
for
price
him.
was high
The
and
gas
price was
Gwei
4,500.
Yeah, exactly. And he was like, dude, it's like $25. I'm just going to use the wallet I already have. He's right. Like, why should he have to pay $25 to set up a new wallet to buy a $100 NFT or whatever the hell it was he wanted to buy? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. And to your point, Stephen, like I've rarely heard this set up a fresh wallet and don't interact with your main wallet thing. Like most people, all they ever say it's to do the right thing, just use a hardware wallet.
Right.
And everyone has always been perpetuating this idea of like, just make sure you use a hardware wallet. The fact that this happened and the fact that even this guy, this incredible figure who's very knowledgeable in the space, made this mistake of interacting with that wallet, it's like, really? We're going to expect Jimmy to know what he's doing? Jimmy doesn't know what the fuck he's doing because Kevin doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Like if Jimmy probably doesn't even have a hardware wallet, but even
Right.
if he did, it would make it worse. Like Steven said, now you think you're protected, you're not. It's this whole fucking thing is.
I mean, there's probably a few other things you could do. You could probably go and revoke privileges from time to time. You know, like you can use MetaMask to revoke. I think you can. What was the other one you mentioned?
Revoke.cash.
Revoke.cash.
yeah.
You can do that. And then
Rotate your wallets.
Yeah, rotate your wallets. We have friends
send
that
everything to
rotate
fresh
wallets.
with nothing, no
Not
baggage in
good,
them.
guys.
But I'm making a call. Like there's developers everywhere in this ecosystem, and they're all developing apps and other shit that's trying to make money. What we need is a better UX for this whole crypto system. Like
You and I have gotten into deep conversations multiple times, EJ, about this, and we always land in the same place. Like, where are all the product marketers?
Right.
Where are all the product builders? There's plenty of great programmers. There's plenty of great people that are interested in the technology. Where are the people that know how to build and market a product that works and is functional and actually onboards people in a safe way into the space? Use the rails. The rails are good. The infrastructure is good enough. There's all this like constant energy going into, and again, I know I'm going against what many people out in the space like believe in, and many of people that listen to this podcast might even believe in, that are very passionate about the Ethereum ecosystem and the incredible upgrades that we've watched unfold over the last couple of years. But if you ask me, it's a waste of fucking time. Get to work on the front end. Where are the front end people? The system is good. It's good enough. If all we're going to do is sit around and just constantly play this game of like making everything 1% better, not that that shouldn't happen. It should continue to happen. But how are we going to create a system for people to actually get onboarded in the first place? That's why, as much as I hate them for what they did, Robinhood, to me, is a player in this space that could actually change the game. I do believe that Robinhood's wallet, if they execute it well, I still haven't seen it. I heard rumblings of it a few months ago. If they execute it well, I think it could be very good for the space. We need somebody like that who understands user experience and who knows exactly how to take all. It's like when you went from Interactive Brokers to Robinhood for the first time. It was like, what?
You're like, wow, I'm losing so much more money, but look how cool it looks.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's confetti when I just got front ran by Ken Griffin?
No, but that's what a normie needs. That's what a normie needs. A professional wants Interactive Brokers because they want to be able to pull all the knobs and levers, but a normie does not need that.
Okay, in all fairness here, though, like there's a hardware issue even before the software issue. Like you can't, like Coinbase abandoned their NFT stuff, didn't they? Because Apple wanted to take like 30% of the fees for the App Store. So Coinbase was like, okay, I guess we can only use this self-custodied wallet because the second we try to do anything to make the Apple tries to grab a chunk, and that's just like it's a total non-starter. It's a hard thing that we've got going on here.
It's true.
And in
That's
all
another
fairness,
problem.
I do think we're in the kind of realization that we're going into like, I think the application phase of crypto. There's going to start to be tons of value captured at the application layer, not just the protocols, but the next big thing is going to be people building wallets that kind of unify all this stuff and do all the stuff you're saying in a way that makes sense to users, because they are going to have like the true power in the system. Like they're going to be like the Facebooks where
Yeah.
they like people are going to be like, yeah, I used the Rabby app. They're not going to think about crypto. They'll be, oh yeah, I push these buttons, I get the NFTs. They're going to have all the users. They're going to have all the powers. There's a huge financial incentive, I think, to do that there. And if Apple can just get the fuck out of
There's
the
a
way.
fuck ton of money sitting around
yeah.
that they raised in 2020, 2021, and 2022. So yeah, use it wisely, guys out there, like people out there, and like build some cool shit that we can use.
I think we'll get there.
I don't know. I feel like how David felt after the whole FTX thing. I feel like this is really bad. This
Good.
Kevin Rose.
Maybe this is a bottom
very
signal
bad.
for UX then.
I don't know.
Let's
I
hope so.
Let's hope so. All right. So
We want to talk about that. Do you want to rant about Splash Mountain?
maybe we need to. Yeah, I know you want to brainstorm some vacation stuff too, which is probably a mood enhancer. I'd like to go either direction there.
I do. Let's talk about Splash Mountain first.
Okay.
I need some like nostalgia.
Yeah, what's going on?
Splash Mountain's it's going away.
Well, it's getting rebranded, right? They're changed.
Yeah,
They're
it's-
not like just removing.
They're
Splash
redoing
Mountain.
it to like Tiana's Bayou Adventure or something. It was a Princess and the Frog.
Sounds more racist now, to be honest.
What's the racism?
Is
part
that
of
why?
this?
Is that really why they got rid of it? It was they.
What's the racism?
Yeah,
thing?
it's I think it's a roller coaster, right? So the roller coaster is racist. So they said this NPR says that, or sorry, I didn't mean that. It's like steeped in racist undertones.
Roller coasters naturally are one of the.
It says the controversy over Splash Mountain stemmed from the movie it was based on. Song of the South is set on a Georgia plantation after Civil War and depicts what the NAACP in 1946 called idyllic master-slave relationship, which is a distortion of the facts. Anyway, the ride features songs from the film, and
so the movie has been canceled.
yeah, and
So because the movie got canceled, the ride is
I had no idea it was based
an
on a movie, to
association.
be
Yeah,
honest.
nobody knows.
yeah,
that.
no one knew this.
Oh,
It's like-
Bear-
It was like
Rabbit,
bears
right?
playing a banjo.
it was
or
like
something.
20,000 people signed a petition on like change.org.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all it takes to get
But
shit
it
done
got
these
Bob.
days.
It got Bob Iger's.
20,000.
To be
I'll
honest,
get you 20,000 people by 3:00.
I was pretty scared of Splash Mountain growing up. Pretty steep drop. It is. I only did it like once or twice. I liked Space Mountain.
But
Wait, if I want to cancel something, I need 20,000 people on change.org.
and maybe like you hit some very specific angles.
Couple PR plays.
Like, do you remember Splash Mountain? It was like I remember like
Yeah.
bears and
It's a
foxes.
scary-
What do you mean?
It's
Do you
scary.
remember? When was the last time you were there?
Well, I'm
You don't go?
38 years old. I have no children. Like it'd be weird if I did go.
Oh my god! No, it's not. I go all the time. It's amazing.
No, I haven't. I think I was last there when I was like 8 years old, maybe. It got Bob Iger's attention. He just said that the movie is not appropriate in today's world. So they were gonna. I think it's going to. Like you said, a new princess
Wow.
style movie.
I think a couple times ago I went to Disney and did Molly, and
Oh
that was like
I think I remember you telling me.
really just awesome. This
Was
is a
it
whole new
therapeutic in any
experience.
way, or just pure fun?
It was one of the happiest days of my life, honestly. Like like my inner child was just so
sounds
free.
really good.
And they had like a lights parade
there's,
at the end, and
giant
stuff was walking
lollipops
by, and I was
and
like,
Yeah.
it was incredible. I'm like
amazing.
tearing up just thinking about how happy I was that day.
Sassafras. That would be good.
As long as they're not changing the ride, I can live with it. Like there are some crows on the ride that talk in a voice that has always felt like a little.
Oh, the
should we be-"
creepy crows.
Yeah, they got like that kind of. I don't even know what you would say, but it's like it felt. It always felt a little weird to me. So I kind of get it, but like you want stuff to be your stuff. Like I never watched the Princess. I don't know who Tiana is. I like know she exists, but like
Well,
it doesn't
something also-
doesn't tug at my heartstrings.
Relevant. What about the
As
M&Ms?
a 38-year-old man who shouldn't be riding Disney.
The
rides anymore.
M&Ms have been
Heard about the
rebranded.
M&Ms? Yeah.
Wait.
They're
Oh
not-
yeah, they abandoned.
So the
all
M&M characters.
They were too
Gone.
sexualized.
What?
Wait, that's not what
No,
I
no, 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 no.
Hold on, the
No,
green
No.
one with the high
No.
heels.
First she went from heels to flats
The green one.
to sneakers. Yeah, that was, and then now the guy, I think it was the CEO. Was
No, they
just
did
like,
more stuff. Then they made some of the M&Ms bigger so that like it was okay to be like obese, and then they made
Oh,
some of the
God.
peanut M&Ms female, which I think was like a trans thing. So you could have a peanut inside, and you still
But
be female.
ultimately, all of this was a failure.
it was
because the guy came out and was just like, I give up. Like I can't do anything right.
Right.
I tried everything to make these characters please everybody, and fuck it, they're all dead. I'm killing all of them, and we're hiring a comedian to be the face of the brand.
they hired Maya
The
Rudolph.
SNL, the
They're like-
SNL
they're
girl.
like, you guys all like Maya Rudolph,
Yeah.
right? Like the
Anyone
judge
dislike
from
her?
The Good Place.
Yeah.
yeah,
She's,
she's great.
She's
She's a great judge, by the way.
she's light brown. That'll help.
Yeah.
she's like she
right,
Ethnically ambiguous?
right in the middle.
The best thing about the M&M's fiasco was the Tucker Carlson memes, though. Did you guys ever see those? Oh my god! Well, Tucker did this like segment one time where he was just ranting about like he's like was so mad that they made the green M&M like less sexual, and he's like these woke corporate like killing everything we love, like taking it away, and then, so like Beeple actually just came out. What Beeple's new art piece is like Tucker Carlson like naked behind the green M&M, like
What?
yeah, it's just like Tucker's.
I saw that one.
Like Tucker's,
I didn't know the context. I was like, well, I'm gonna have to.
yeah,
I
no.
didn't know Tucker was known for his meme meme work.
I wish we
Oh,
were
yeah.
alive.
No,
We
no.
could pull that
Well,
up
he
right
didn't
now.
make the meme, but like he's very memeable. So there are
People,
all these
people
like
made it.
Okay.
yeah, just Google like Tucker Carlson
Tucker's
Eminem
kind of
memes,
dweeby.
and there's
Like he's kind of a dweeb.
I don't watch the news. I have no idea.
Yeah, he's just
I don't know. The Eminem thing was never something that occupied a lot of my brain space. The
pretty
Splash Mountain
wild,
thing
though.
hit me harder.
I gotta say I'm gonna miss those little fuckers.
Was Splash Mountain your favorite ride at Disneyland?
Space Mountain's up there.
Space Mountain's really
So
good.
they redid Space Mountain like 10
Oh,
years ago
really?
or 5 years ago or something.
Is it wicked now? Just
I always
wicked
thought
fast?
it was wicked. Like I
Yeah.
just always loved Space
The
Mountain.
last time I went on it, it was set up for
the
like
best.
Star Wars,
Yeah.
which was really
Same.
That
cool.
Star Wars ride was fucking cool too.
The one where you're like on the
And like
transport.
the thing like shakes up and down as like the ship's moving.
Oh, it's great. I love Disneyland. I have no shame about going to Disneyland. You can
Oh, you gave me a little
Roast
idea
me.
there. A little
roast
adult,
me all you want.
adult Disneyland trip.
So
Well,
I w-
speaking of,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say this got me. Now I know travel was a topic that had been brought up. So you're trying to plan some travel. We're all trying to plan some travel this year. Wait, Nick, you're still doing the trip? Are you? Oh, let's circle back.
Yeah.
Are you? What do you think of your analysis? Your XP points, your
Yeah.
risk
Oh, I
reward
forgot
of
about that.
I think
Of
we're
cl-
gonna pull the trigger. I was in
Yeah.
Las Vegas for a work convention last week, so I haven't made any progress on it. But I think the intention's still there. Still gonna pull the trigger. October looks like a great time to go to Bhutan, and
Do you plan to go to Tibet as well? Do you think, or
don't
just
know.
Bhutan?
the idea is Bhutan. But
Are they bordered?
It just depends on who
Hold on.
comes and
that's northern hemisphere. Is that high altitude? That's like snow involved at that time.
Yeah, but it's dry during October, so it's decent-ish weather, good for hiking. You know, the flowers aren't blooming and things like that, but you can experience the whole country, during that time. So we'll see. If my girlfriend comes, maybe it'll be some hiking. Maybe we don't go to Nepal.
If she comes,
Yeah, if she comes,
you might go solo.
maybe. I mean, like she's interested in it, but we have to let the plane crash
idea
just kind of
settle.
like
Yeah.
die down and
Oh, that's
Okay.
right.
Let's
not talk
A lot of
about
plane
that.
crashes.
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
You shouldn't lead with that.
No.
No.
I don't know. I got to get some like Instagram or TikTok reels. To
I think we should do
sell it.
Can we talk about a couples trip?
Oh yeah, we wanted it. What's the best couples trip
Well,
location?
apparently, my couple, my significant other, reminded me yesterday that apparently we discussed something New Year's Eve, but I don't remember because I
Oh,
was
was that
too drunk.
Greece?
It was like Alaska or something.
Oh, that doesn't sound like something I would want to do.
Apparently, you were very into it.
I want to do a.
There's no way that's true because I took a trip to Alaska.
I don't know.
And it was,
Just okay.
I mean, I fished a lot with my dad, which was cool.
I
Sunset
love a
at
good
like
fishing
11
trip.
p.m.
Yeah.
It was weird.
But I want to do a yacht trip.
Yacht trip.
Couples yacht trip, maybe in the Mediterranean somewhere.
Talking like
It's on my list.
Croatia.
Yeah,
I remember-
Albania, maybe.
Oh,
I remember
yeah.
feeling
Albania?
iffy about the yacht trip because I've heard like horror stories about Yacht Week in Croatia.
No,
where
you
you're
don't
just
do Yacht Week.
Trapped on a,
We're not.
trapped
You
on a
do-
tiny
you,
boat.
You
in the
don't
heat.
do the official.
No, you
you
don't.
don't go with that crew, but you can yacht.
Also,
Actually,
they're not
Nick's
real
done it.
yachts. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been-
Also, people just throw around the word yacht. Like
No.
it's like
might as well have to bring your own oar on those things.
like a 35-foot boat with my yacht.
yeah.
No, people get scammed. They get conned on. The
No,
yacht
but like
week.
we went during that time on a yacht, and then we like saw, the
You
yacht
had a
week
yacht.
crew. Yes,
You
and
had
then
a couple
How
chefs,
yacht?
like-
How was your yacht? Your yacht
Yeah.
is not yacht.
it was.
yeah,
What
he had,
it
he had a
was.
staff.
Oh, you had a staff. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like if you have a staff,
You have to have a staff if you're
Qualified.
gonna.
Yacht is not-
You need you need it.
Size is not size.
Somebody here reads crypto Twitter.
But I mean, we saw Yacht Week, in the vicinity, and there's just people like, just puking off the side during the middle of the day. I mean, those things
Yeah,
are tiny,
yeah.
and you're kind of like underneath the water. So anyway, I'm for that. I would really like that because I think the level where you get to like crazy expenses is like if you have more than 4 or 5 rooms. So like 4 rooms could be like 4 couples, and you might only need like 2 staff for that, right? But then you go above that, then
You need a big yacht.
yeah, much bigger.
I don't like the idea of just maybe being trapped on the boat.
No, it was probably one of my favorite like relaxing vacations on there because like you just especially in Croatia because there's so many different places to go park the boat during the day. You anchor, you bring out all the toys, the jet skis or whatever, and like the paddle boards, and just play music, and
That
then
sounds incredible.
people drive up and sell you food on the boat, or you have food made, you're drinking on the boat. You can take the little boat in, and go hang out on the coast, go to a restaurant. At night, you can go to like a nightclub or a bar, and then
Yeah, I
have
love
them
that
come
you
back.
get the land and sea.
Yeah, you get both. You're not
combo.
necessarily like stuck on it. It's not like a cruise where you're like
So
just cruising
I
around the water.
like nice cruises. Like if you can find and there's apparently a new boat.
Never been on a cruise.
Dude,
never
there's a new boat that my friend was on last year. She posted photos. It's unbelievable. I mean, we're talking 6-star level cruise.
But how many people? Like how many people are gonna be
It's
on
more intimate. It's not like these aren't like carnival
Like
cruises.
Royal Caribbean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these are like
the Ritz-Carlton
luxurious, that level kind of cruise. And you don't want to leave this boat. Like it's that cool. Like you still dock and you go to islands and things like that.
It's not the Ritz-Carlton one.
I don't think so. This is a new something or other. It's like the biggest boat in the world. And it came out last year.
Sounds like the
I think off the
Ritz-Carlton
coast of Miami is where it mostly. Okay. It
So
could
do
be.
you guys remember when we went to Joshua Tree? Nick wasn't there, but we went and Hoffman was there.
Yeah.
And we had this like whole like theme that was like to do epic shit.
Always.
Because like what we typically do is like we go to a bar and we smoke a cigar and stuff, and that's like cool, but it's not like epic because it's like what we always do.
It's only 2 XP points.
That's 2 XP, right? So I think like planning these trips is like much higher XP, but then there's also this idea of like what do you do for higher XP on like a day-to-day basis or a intra-week basis where it's like, can we do more epic shit that doesn't involve like going on a yacht in the Mediterranean Sea?
If they would finally build a Top Golf in San Diego, we could.
Even just golfing, like we haven't golfed in a long time.
I mean, you do not have to convince me of any of this stuff. You already know that.
Yeah, you're always looking for
I'm-
more.
Well,
epic.
I'm not
What
trying to
epic
convince you.
adventure.
I want to have an epic year.
Great.
I made a notion.
I'm having
I made
an
a
epic
notion.
year.
I made a do epic shit notion board.
What's on
And
there? This is a great time to share what's on your
nothing's
Notion board.
on it yet.
He's like, I need to
I've just
Create the board.
Made the board. He found the template.
But I did do what you said, right? I have like my like maybe once a month, my once a quarter epic shit, like my
Yeah.
once a month
Yeah.
semi epic shit, and then
Yeah.
my like once every 2 weeks, like pretty cool. That's a memory that I should catalog.
I'm looking
and I
for
even
my
put like a
big one this
scrapboard on
year.
it to like log like
All
the
right.
notes and stuff.
So
I think it would be really fun.
I think you should check out this site. I found it useful.
Oh, yeah.
It's a luxury travel site. They handle everything for you. I don't know the service. I don't know the company. All I know is their website is full of travel ideas
so
around
we're just
the world.
using this to
Just
source ideas.
Exactly. And that's where I got some of mine. So it's called jacadatravel.com,
Jacada Travel.
Jacada.
Jeez.
And you can go by travel ideas. So it could be like family trips, honeymoons, special occasions, groups and reunions. Maybe we look under that.
Okay.
They have the wildlife and safari trips, the food and wine, arts and history, active and adventure, epic expeditions, and positive impact trips. Or you can go by destination, like the country or the continent, whatever. And they spell out the whole itinerary, like the hotels that you go to. And because they're saying like,
And our AI can plan it
yeah, actually.
and send itineraries out and everything.
But anyway, I found it a good place to like source ideas from,
love
specifically the epic trips. Like I got the idea for the Bhutan, Nepal trip from a friend, but I didn't know what
That's-
that meant
that's
to go
good
to
alfalfa.
Bhutan. And you can go here and they,
It's like a multi-million-dollar company that spends all its time organizing epic shit for people. Why not just source their itineraries and recreate them and spin them
and
up
they have like for Bhutan,
in
they have
your
like
own way?
4 different ways to do the trip. They're
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
choose your own adventure.
Yeah, and if you don't want to spend the dollars that they require, you just go like, well, we don't have to fly like this. We go like this, or we take a
Yeah.
boat instead of a this, and you can do it for half the price.
Can I
love
run
that.
something by you guys that I have been thinking about this week? This is like sort of on topic, but also just something that I'm just casually thinking about. It's more of like life dream type stuff. So Mina created a vision board with Steven's girlfriend, and they both were like all travel focused, but Mina's in particular had this castle on it that was like, it looked like it was in like Tuscany with like rolling hills, and she's like, well, yeah, I want this house. And I was like, okay,
Cool.
so I was like, cool. But then I actually started looking up like old school, like medieval castles and palaces. And these are so fucking cheap compared to what we'd imagine they
They
would
are
cost.
no. I
There's no
actually
plumbing,
heard
like-
this. They're surprisingly affordable.
I brought this up on New Year's Eve. It said, let's go rent a castle. You guys remember that? That's the only thing I remember.
New Year's Eve.
You
Was
can
I
rent one on
sober?
Airbnb.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
probably rent
Like,
it for
literally-
near zero. But to buy it, like I think the standard home in San Diego is like as much as a
Wait,
like
really?
a 12-room castle in like Cognac, France. Like I'm literally looking at,
Oh my
at
God.
old school palaces that are like right on the river with like a beautiful garden in
Wait,
front.
like less than $10 million?
Yes,
for a castle.
all of them.
Are
all
you
of them are under
serious?
10, like between 2 and 10. And
Like,
I'm just thinking
like a royal estate?
huge.
Do they have plumbing?
I have no idea.
Who
of the-
needs plumbing?
That's why I wanted to run it by you guys because I don't know.
Wait,
Like,
this is brilliant.
where's the landmine here? Like, what am I walking into? I'm walking
I
into
think it's the
like
plumbing.
a huge
And the
liability.
non-central heating and air.
Well, I think the liability is it'll cost $10 million a year to run, but like other than that,
3 centuries of deferred maintenance.
Does it cost a lot to maintain a castle?
Jesus Christ,
You could
just a
like
bunch of
turn
rocks,
this thing
right?
like
Imagine.
for the type of entrepreneur, the right type. Like you could turn this thing into like a wedding venue,
Yeah.
escape kind of thing, and like you can make 50 grand on a weekend if you wanted to.
yeah.
It definitely elevates somebody for me when I meet them and I find out that they live in a castle.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So-
oh, you have a castle? Sick.
I mean, that's got to have some value. Like, think of how easily you'd be able to court investors.
Maybe the next
if
guy
you
who
lived
runs a
in
big Ponzi scheme
if
in
you lived
crypto
in
would
a
be like,
castle.
that's how they'll get their money. They'll be like, well, I own a castle. And
crypto castle.
I'm not sure though. I remember meeting a girl when I was backpacking, and all she ever talked about is growing up in France in a castle, and she just kept telling everyone stories about it.
was it an enjoyable
Yeah, it
childhood?
was pretty good. Everyone was like, "Tell me more, please tell me more about staff number 17 and the
Tell me-
shit that
tell me
she
about
would
the
get into." Yeah. Well, any decisions there? Like, what do you think, Steven? Do you have something planned? I would love to plan like a. I think we should circle back to this in another episode.
The
when we
couple,
made
yeah,
some
the couples
decisions.
thing is different. I want to do that as well. I think that's an interesting trip. I've never really done like a all out super cool couples
So,
trip. Actually,
Well, I think what would be fun if we're going to share it on the podcast would be to come up with something really cool and then like kind of share how we got to the point of developing the itinerary. Because I'm sure there are plenty of other people and couples out there that are like, why haven't I not done something like that? And there's easy ways to put something like that
I got,
together.
in addition to Bhutan and Nepal, I have Patagonia, hiking around Patagonia.
that's
It's actually,
that's on like my
and you don't necessarily have
Watch
to
list,
do
yeah.
like hardcore hiking. You can do half intense and half like indoors. Iceland, see,
Iceland's on there.
yep.
for me.
And then Alaska was actually on there. So
I
I,
would love
wasn't
to
there
do
when you guys
Alaska.
talked about it, but I'm in.
I would love Alaska.
I still don't remember talking about.
I
This.
am going to Argentina though this year,
You are?
September.
You
Yeah,
guys are
with
very
my-
hike
For
Yeah.
Patagonia?
No, probably not. Probably Buenos Aires, Iguazu Falls, maybe Mendoza.
Who's the chef that cooks outside?
Yeah, Francis
Oh,
Malman.
No.
Malman.
Malman. Yeah,
Malman.
Prince Malman. Yeah,
Yeah,
Fran-
you introduced me to him.
Yeah. Anyway, he's got an island
Yeah.
that where you can like reserve, a time, and he'll cook it all outdoors. That might be a little fun.
What's
experience.
the how to watch? So this is an episode from a Netflix series called
Oh, man.
Cooked. I want to say.
Yeah, or I think it was one of the like final table. No, not
No, I think
Chef's
it's like
table thing?
Cooked or something.
Yeah.
And I believe it's episode 3. I just remember the way you were like first season, episode 3. Michael Francis Malman.
Francis Malman. Yeah, I mean you could look it
You'll
up.
find that, and you'll find the
And
episode.
he's
It's
super
so
unique
good.
because he cooks everything outside over fire. So imagine he just makes a massive fire and he's going to cook like a 10-person, 5-course meal. And so he creates these structures. Like some things are very close to the heat, like the meat, because it needs to cook. And then the vegetables might be hanging like, 15 feet above the fire to like slowly cook over time. Anyway, he's got a unique thing in how he cooks and how he presents the food. And it looks really interesting. But yeah, check that out. But he that could be part of the trip if you're going for like a comfy Buenos Aires trip. Yeah. But I like the hiking ones because like they bring you in nature. I
I
don't
want
know.
to soak up sun on
I
the
love.
boat.
I
You
love.
could do both.
nature
You could do both.
trips. I really do. That's why Patagonia sounds super interesting to me. I mean,
It just depends when it's a boys' trip or like a trip with significant others.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, I mean
It's
we're,
like
the couples trip.
Mine hates hiking.
Yeah.
No interest.
Mina thinks she likes hiking, but then you take
No.
her to like a real hike and she's like, what the fuck?
she wants to be the kind of person who likes hiking,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
she actually isn't.
That's a stroll in a nature park. Like,
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
that's what. Not all significant others.
With like a
by the way.
backpack full of booze.
Some. Remember when we ran into like some badass women that were running the trail in Washington?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that
Put
made
us to
us feel
shame.
like absolute.
Well, we ran out of water, so we weren't
Yeah.
going to survive.
Yeah, there were some bad.
They didn't even like have water. They're like, it's just gonna take us like
Yeah,
2.5 hours.
we'll get back to
I
the car.
They
don't wanna
ran.
I don't want to weigh myself down.
Didn't they essentially run what we did in 2 days?
Yeah, they were running
Yeah.
with like
It was a 20-mile trail run
Yeah.
in a day.
Yeah, those are like the Goggins
Yeah, just
crew.
freaks.
A couple of them just had like
Speaking of
water strapped to their
Goggins.
arms, like Edward.
Did you guys
Forehand.
check out the interview I shared at all?
I checked out a little bit of it. It was too long, but
It's long. Well, it's not that long. It was not that long for a podcast these days. I think it was like an hour 50, but so it's Goggins on the guy that's been doing really good work lately. Chris something. Modern Wisdom is the show. He was actually on Rogan. He's now connected with all those guys, so he's doing really good work. And he's actually a very eloquent dude, like British dude, and asks very good questions. And he had Goggins on for like 2 hours. And dude, this guy just like, obviously he doesn't really like doing a lot of promotional stuff, but he had just gotten back from getting paid $12 an hour to fight fires. Like that's how he opens the episode.
no, not even fighting fires. He's the fire jumper or smoke jumper or whatever. When
In
they
a
can't reach the
forest.
fighter,
Yeah.
the fire, they like parachute them in because it's the only way to get in to fight the fire. And they're like, and they just drop all the gear and be like, good luck.
They literally
it's
just
on you.
stay there, no support, no nothing. They
Days.
sleep there. They bring the water down with them, and they fight fire for like days until it's done.
And they walk themselves out.
Yeah, hike out. It's wild. I don't know. I highly recommend if somebody's like out there, just like need a little Goggins in your life, need a little
I
bit
had
of
to
like
stop
smack
listening
upside
to
the head.
Goggins because you just made me feel like so bad about myself. Like it went over. You know, like a certain amount is
I love him.
inspirational, and then you reach like you go over the cliff, and you're just like, I need. To
I don't have
stop.
that problem because I know I've made the decision. Like no one I know is going to be him or wants to be him, but it just sets a trajectory of like, here's what's possible if you get out of your own way. If you stop making the decision of what's comfortable and you push yourself a little bit further, here's what's possible. I think that's what he represents.
Did you ever read Living with a Seal?
No.
So Goggins doesn't really have much nuance. Like I get his whole thing without even listening to him. Like
Not a big
I-
nuance
I
guy,
already
yeah.
know what the fuck I'm going to listen to. It's no excuses, work harder. Like I
I'm
got
sorry.
it.
I kind of feel
beg
like
to
you could
differ
be
here.
Goggins though in like another life. Like I get Eric vibes from him.
Yeah, like that is I get that.
I get the
but
no
I beg to
nonsense
differ on
thing,
this.
but like for me, like I don't need to listen to more of his content. Like I get it.
I strongly on
Oh,
this
is
one.
good. This is good.
I strongly beg to differ
Good.
with your point. If you listen to the first, get through 30 minutes of this interview, okay? There's tons of nuance. I mean, every aspect of his decision making and how he reached those decisions. Now he's become very wise because first he came out to the world. He's like, this is who I am. This is what I did. I used to be this huge guy. I've lost all this weight. I've become this like insane, human being. But now he's at a place where he's had so much experience and listened to so many people's excuses that he's at a point where there's so much nuance in everything he says. And there's so much compassion in everything that he says now. He understands psychology way more than people give him credit for. So if you appreciate that like human psychology part of it, which I know you do, I think you would get a lot out of actually.
it's in the how, not the what. Because I think the what is pretty simple. It's like stop fucking complaining, do the work.
Maybe. I think there is some interesting what too.
What
though.
is your biggest Goggins alpha though?
Well, I'm not a huge Goggins guy. Like I haven't had much exposure to him. This is like an interview that I'm like sitting and watching.
Just
him
like,
for more than a
listen to this
clip.
thing. It's pretty cool. Just want to let you guys know.
I think the best way to
No,
get,
it's more than that. But
I think the best way to get use out of Goggins is just to like listen to him yell at you like once every 2 weeks, just to remind you that there's like a little inner bitch inside of you that voices up, and you might get too comfortable with that one at times and give into it, and then you just hear him, chirp at you like Jocko every like 2-3 weeks, and you're like, all right, it's a good reminder. But so there's no nuance in
I think
what
it-
you're getting from him, but I think it's still
it
useful.
reshapes your baseline idea around what motivation even is. That's what I think I'm getting out of it the most. The way I've viewed motivation is like it's something it's very fleeting, right? You're constantly having to find it, turn it on, and at times in your life you just don't have it. So what do you do when you just don't have it? That's where Goggins is powerful to me, because every single day he finds a way, and there's nuance in how he finds that way when he doesn't want to do it. Like I agree, it comes down to do it, but there's a lot in there.
Yeah.
And I think people are getting a lot out of it. That's clearly why he's
Totally.
become this huge phenomenon. So I'm going through his second book right now. I just started his second book, which is like about his ultra marathons and running 240 miles and nonstop and like how he gets through that.
Fucking free.
Yeah.
He like was running one of those Moab 240s, 240
Yeah.
mile, races, and he actually got lost on one of them.
this was the
and
story.
then they were like, well, you can't finish the race because like technically you're lost. And like, anyway, he went back and ran
Just
it. He
went back to the
ran like,
beginning and ran.
he
Bro,
ran
and
and
he
just
finished it for himself anyway.
didn't. It was
like the
he
race was over.
DQ'd.
yeah, he DQ'd.
Sick.
He did it for him.
So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he ran like 250, like 15 extra miles, like had another half a marathon on top.
Well, like, get this. That doesn't
At that
shock
point,
me
like-
because that's exactly who he is. Like, I understand who he is.
And again, we're not going to go run 257 miles, but there's something there, I think, for a lot of people. Not
Absolutely.
for everybody,
Absolutely.
but there's something there.
Yeah.
So
I
anyway.
totally agree. I think his stuff is valuable. I definitely agree.
I would love to talk about this ChatGPT thing. We don't have to jump to it right now if you guys want
I
to.
mean, we can wrap with it. I feel like it's a good wrap.
Well, I know that there was this Netflix thing as well. I don't know if you guys still want to talk about that.
It's not killing me.
All right. No, I think we'll have more fun with the latest ChatGPT thing. So, when we initially talked about this, it's been like a few episodes now, and it's an awesome recurring theme that we have. One of the facts that came out about ChatGPT was that it was approximately at a sophomore level of education and intelligence. Sophomore high school. And I remember when I heard that, I was like, bullshit. Like, that's way too conservative. This thing is smarter than every college student I've ever met. And now they came out and said that ChatGPT passed a Wharton, which is one of, if not the most prestigious, school for business, master's MBA level exam, and got a B. B minus? I
Yeah, he
think?
said that's what the instructor
Got
said.
a
It would
B.
have been like a B minus.
So that's fucking remarkable.
There was other tests you said it passed. Do you remember off the top of your head?
There was some medical licensing exam that it passed, and then it got a 50% on the multiple choice section of the bar exam, the lawyer bar exam. So it's clearly above sophomore high school level for sure.
Yeah, that's conservative for sure.
yeah.
And this is GPT 3.5.
Yeah. There's
So-
going to be a 4 coming out later, of course, and then a 5. So what happens now?
Well, I mean, it's not like you can take a computer into your Wharton, business school exam, right? And just fire up ChatGPT and do this. So, I mean, people are like, it's going to revolutionize how exams are taken, but I mean, they don't let you bring your phone in these like important exams.
So I heard this take. I heard that
They didn't used to let you bring your calculator in.
Well, I heard that was the take. Like, well,
really?
you calculators exist, and you still have to take the math test on your own volition.
Why do you need that exam if you have access
Right.
to a thing that can just
That's
do all that? Like,
I think
what,
that's a
what is
better-
that even? What is even the point?
Yeah,
That's
like
the best question.
yeah, like why
That's the
do you
point.
need a human to learn this when you can just have this AI churn it out?
I just feel like all of education is just have to be like totally rethought.
Do you think there's some argument that like you should learn fundamentals? Like, yes, you don't need to know that, but like we want you to still critically think about it. So shouldn't you have to go through some kind of like basic learning, like just like arithmetic?
For now, while the error rate is so high and you can't offload the trust that this knows the fundamentals better than you do, because if we're going to follow your 80-10 rule, then yes, I need to know that 10% better than this because I can't trust the
Sorry,
prompt
what's the
and the
10-80-10
foundation.
rule?
That was actually from Dan Martell.
Oh.
But well, that's what he uses with like
We do a lot of podcasts.
yeah. But I was saying for ChatGPT, you could apply that, right?
Oh, yeah.
You could give it the 10%
I thought you said
prompt.
that, yeah.
And then the AI does 80% of the work, and then you come up and patch up the
your
last 10%.
cleanup,
10% of the
finalization. But
cleanup, I got
if the 10% is so critical, which it is, upfront work, to me, that's sort of this analogy for, well, that's also similar to the foundation of the thinking, right? The first principles of the work itself. So you can't offload that yet. But when the foundations are strong enough, why would you go and bother to learn the foundations at all? So then all becomes left is, okay, what is the purpose of my job in my life as a knowledge worker in today's society? So what is knowledge work going to be if not only does it understand the fundamentals better than I do, but it can do the work itself better than I do? So then it becomes, am I a prompt engineer? Do I just need to be a very good prompt engineer the way that some people are very good Googlers? I think that's very powerful, and I think that's very
Absolutely.
important.
Yeah.
'Cause some people don't know how to ask questions in prompt, and the ones that do get better answers. So that's critical. Maybe also just for now until prompts get easier. So you just play this out,
I
play
feel
it
like being a
out, play
prompt
it out,
engineer
play
is
it
going to
out.
be obsolete by like
Yeah.
GPT-5. Like
Exactly.
when your daughter's 18, we're going to be on GPT like 25. Like what is that? Like what would you?
So what's left?
Like yeah, like how would you guide her through? Like what would you tell her is important to know and why? Like in a
What's left
world
is all
where
the
something
shit
knows
that we told
everything.
our kids not to do, like plumbing, carpentry,
Stop playing.
stop playing fucking games and
Well,
shit.
so-
You need all that.
I heard an argument where I was looking through some like macro data, and someone said that technologies like AI, we think they're going to make our economy more productive. Like productivity will go up. There will be, more GDP per capita as like a nation if that technology exists. But what he made the argument that it actually doesn't. It makes the labor force less effective because what do people do when all the hard stuff, like all the math, is taken care of for them? They go back to like art, creative stuff, maybe like working at a bar, or like you said, being a plumber, like literally trading their time for money. So you have like maybe an engineer who's has like a 10x impact into how much money they can like leverage they get from that human capital. And then when that job kind of becomes obsolete,
But you think on a net basis, like our country will have a lower productivity
someone
rate?
was making the argument that like as people pull off from these high leverage
Okay,
jobs,
I
they
was-
actually move to lower leverage jobs.
I was
Well, I
listening
agree
to.
with
but shouldn't
I-
don't forget, but shouldn't it replace what we already had in terms of productivity at a bare minimum?
Like if the AI
why would we
doing
lose?
It, yeah, like we're getting more
I'm
productivity.
not sure I understand.
Well, on the latest Hidden Forces pod, he's talking to an economist, and he threw out the claim that like there's been a lot of productivity gains in the last but like none of it had come from computers, and he was like commenting on how like computers hadn't like increased like the productivity of the workforce, and I was like, wait, what? Like is that a real thing? And that blew my mind, and I was like, that can't be right. I have to go listen to this or watch it, but that would kind of feed into the thing you're saying.
It doesn't really pass the smell test because
I
everything
can't
that
wrap
we all
my
do is on computers,
around
and
that.
like anybody that I know really like works
But
on
like
computers.
if you went from I don't know, working in business or coding, and you just said I'm going to use my time becoming a piano instructor.
Well,
'Cause,
I guess-
I enjoy it. I don't need to do.
But
this.
that guy is now a piano instructor, and the AI is doing his coding. So now you get both. So it's like a net positive
Right.
on like the
You're talking about on like
national
a
GDP, like on a net
top
basis.
level, yeah.
Well,
that's
who's
my
who's
assumption.
more productive today? Like the 17-year-old who's got like this crazy brain processing and watches YouTube and TikTok like a million hours a day, or like the kid from like 200 years ago who like works like on a farm and like produces food. Like you could say that like actually, well, the kid on the farm was actually doing productive stuff. This kid is just entertaining
Right.
himself. They were just like inventing ways to entertain ourselves.
But we still have the
replacing.
food. Like the food still exists because we have agribusiness.
Sure, but like the but that's what he was saying. He's like productivity has come from like science and like these mechanical engineering feats and stuff like that. But he's like the computing. He made the claim that the computing like itself hadn't added to the productivity of the the workforce, which I still am.
Yeah,
confused by.
I could understand on a net basis it all productivity going up, but on an individual unit human basis productivity going down. Like I get that, but I don't get net productivity going down as a whole.
That's what he was talking about.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
Because if that's the case, that's very bad. I mean that's terrible.
Okay,
That means that we wouldn't be able to replace knowledge work and all the jobs that we do and the mechanics that are necessary in factories and labor. That means that we wouldn't make that trade.
It's just not true because you see globally like the standard of living is increasing on a global scale, and that's basically due to technology.
Yeah.
That's like that's what productivity
Since the
gains
Industrial
are.
Revolution.
Yeah, that's
has
I
become.
mean, you could argue it's also specialization and globalization. Probably brought the really cheap flat screen TVs.
Well,
to our
technology
living
is being productive, but not the people. Maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah.
Did you guys ever? You just reminded me of something. Did you guys ever read the book Childhood's End when you were growing up? it is this kind of like, it describes this sort of utopian future where technology and AI and everything becomes so ubiquitous and great that there's nothing for humans to do as far as like work goes. They have all of their needs met and everything. And like, what do you guys think is the big industry in that world, in this like hypothetical world? This book was written decades
Porn.
ago too. Not super far off.
No? Okay. Close.
Like
Like, what is everybody in society
reproductive-
doing?
Like it's not sex. It's not sex.
reproducing, like
Entertainment.
entertainment.
Entertainment becomes like the only, and it's like kind of what's already happening now. Like all of the, especially the younger generations, all of it, they revolve around YouTube. It's all entertainment. They're not building stuff.
Yeah, we call it content creation, but
Yeah.
The more of all the base needs of humanity get met and everything, what are we filling the space with? Just entertaining ourselves. And like it kind of brilliant because he wrote that a long time ago and you're already seeing it now. And you can imagine what happens like 50 years from now or 100 years from now when just everybody has everything. Like, what do we do? Apparently we're just all influencers.
Everyone has a podcast.
Oh my God, what are we doing?
Oh, man.
Oh, I mean, have you thought about it for your daughter who's about to be born into the world any day now? Like, are you for sure gonna have her go through traditional school, or is that 80-20? Is it, absolutely not? I'm gonna homeschool her. I'm gonna sign up for a $42 a month ChatGPT subscription and tell her have at it.
I don't know. It's funny. Like until that event happens, I don't think you as an individual even begin to start to process those ideas. I can almost imagine it. It's like my own life, like pre-beard and post-beard. Like I just feel like two different people. I said this in the
love this
Discord
analogy.
today. So like pre-beard Armand would just do things and say things that this guy is just completely unfamiliar with. Like just totally different life. And I feel like post-baby is going to be very similar, where those thoughts have not even crossed my mind as important yet.
Well, I'm
but if I had to
guessing that
guess,
your wife's an educator. She's
Yeah.
probably not going to accept
Yeah.
this
so
other
she's
style.
very against the idea of homeschool. Although I'm like slightly for it. Like I can imagine a world where like a cohort of kids and a very incredible teacher that spends time with them and really nurtures their self-directed learning would be amazing. And I would want that. Like 8 kids that get to really hang out and do extracurriculars. And sure, you go do the extracurriculars and you meet 100 other kids and all that. But like this core group run by like very high level people, I think that could be very interesting, like that kind of model. And I already see some families moving toward that, which is
Specifically during
really cool.
COVID for sure.
Yes. And a lot of people got upset with schools and education in general at some of the things that they've been teaching over the last few years. And I know people that pulled their kids out of school because they were like, yo, like you're crossing the line. Like, don't teach my kids that. And for some people, it was too much. They couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle their kids getting indoctrinated at that level and being told what to think, not how to think. And knowing myself and how big I am about that and how sensitive I am about that, I'm pretty sure that if my daughter came home and was being told how to think and what to think, being told what to think without teaching how to think, I think that would be a big problem for me. So I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what the answer is. I'm sure we'll get there in year 7 of the podcast, but we'll see.
Well, I feel like a decade from now, like we're going to look back at just the education system today and it's going to seem so antiquated to us. And I think the education system of the future is going to look like, I think there's certain stuff I do right now that actually sort of already kind of mimics what it's going to look like in the future. I think a good analogy of this is like trading, right? Like how did I learn to trade? Like YouTube, following people on social media, talking to them, and then also joining a community where everybody was also doing the same stuff, right? And that makes sense, right? You basically have all this like ad hoc learning that you can just dive into as much as you want. You can find all the stuff that works for you. And then you also bolt on the social element, which I think is super important because I think if you just do that by yourself, you never get it. And I think that's what school probably looks like. Like it's not hard to imagine 10 years from now that ChatGPT 20 is like a person that you talk to. and your kid can just talk to it, and it's
That's
just
your
like, how do
teacher.
I do this?
Yeah.
And it just tells them
It's a robot. but-
everything. It explains them everything. It's all custom to that kid, and then you bolt some social element onto that. Maybe the teachers are more just sort of social facilitators or something, but like each kid can then learn highly individualistically at their own pace. They can pursue whatever niche interest they have. It's so flexible, and we're going to look back on the system where we all just sat at these desks, and you're like, now you're going to learn how to do long division. Now you're going to learn that. Now you're going to learn something that's going to be obsolete, and by the time you're in fourth
Right.
grade, but like we're just going to do it anyway. It's just like it seems so silly to me already, and like I look at how people are already learning in this new kind of YouTube like social age, and it's like already.
Dude, so
it's
you
weird
know
to
I
see it.
love The Good Place. It's like Janet from The Good Place, man. You literally be able to
Yeah.
snap your fingers,
No,
whether
yeah.
you're in a VR world or wherever you are. It's just like, give it to me. It's like God in your pocket, man.
That form of obsolescence reminds me of like church a little bit. Like church and religion seems a little obsolete to me, but what does it provide? It provides solace and community, and that part is really useful in people's lives. And so the form of school could be obsolete in what it does, but like you're saying, if you could replace that part with technology, but still bolt on some community and friendship and like interpersonal skills and how to like work with teams, or maybe there's still sports, that would be great.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I worry about most with education, and this is from an American-centric perspective, because education in many countries from a public level system is very good, especially in Europe. We're incredibly behind in the United States. This is a publicly run good that we offer our citizens, right? And it's poor, and it's very conservative, and it's slow to move and slow to change. My wife works in education in a private setting, private school in a prestigious setting, and there they refer to ChatGPT came up again. And she was like, well, I don't know how it came up. It was something to do with my work, my company. And when I was sharing an idea with her, and she was like, well, it's kind of controversial. I was like, wait, what? What is?
What part of it?
What is ChatGPT? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, wait, to you, in your world, ChatGPT is controversial? She's like, yeah, it's very controversial in education. I'm like, wait, I can already guess what the conversation is. Is the conversation that they're basically like trying to find a way to prevent students from using this, and teachers are in fear, and everyone's just in fear overload
disrupted.
and disrupted, and they don't know how to use it like the calculator, and instead they're fighting it. And I went on this whole rant. She was like, yeah, totally. That's exactly what's happening. And she gave me more details, and we went through a bunch of, anecdotes of things that she's been hearing. And I was like, this is exactly the problem. Like, it takes the education system so long to understand what is available to us as a species, and to bring that into the curriculum fold and say, okay, let's utilize this, because when you go out into the world and you're ready to become a human being and get a job, you're going to have access to all these things. We're not going to act like we live in a world where we don't have access to all these things. It's kind of like the TI-83, and all the things that don't use those functions. Those functions are not allowed in class. Why the fuck not? They're in the calculator. I can use them. Why can't I use them? So it's like, give me access to the full spectrum of technology and goods and resources that are available, and let's learn how to become more educated, better humans with all the tools.
Was
But
it
if-
your experience that education was slow to adopt internet? Because for me, it was like very quick. Like for my like sixth grade, we had like internet, and
I
they
think
were,
that
teaching
depends
us
a
that.
lot on the resources of the
Yeah, so
district
that's what I'm asking
and
you.
the
Like,
system.
I'm asking
For me
your-
in public school, it was kind of slow to come, and it was just like Oregon Trail for many years.
You know what this is
that's
more
it.
analogous to? How like when Wikipedia and stuff came out, like people wouldn't let you cite it. Like you still had to
Yes.
cite like,
Yes.
no, don't get information from that. Super easy to use, and like you need to go to this
Encyclopedia
book.
Britannica that's 4 years old on your
Yes.
shelf.
Yeah, I think that's like the right
That's a
analogy
very
here.
good analogy, yeah.
And I kind of get it, but also no.
There's a lot of fear.
Wow. I mean, she works in a private setting, but
Yeah.
imagine when like teachers unions get a hold of this and like see it as a threat to their members. I mean, it's just like
You probably
all
still
the
can't
political
cite Wikipedia
fiasco.
today, can you? Like in school.
I don't know. It's been a while since.
But
I've,
like those guys are citing the encyclopedia and shit like that for.
But you can
for
just
the
go
Wikipedia
to
page.
so yeah. You can just follow the citation on Wikipedia and see where they cited it from.
True.
And then I think most of those sources might be citable. So
Do
like
you
there's-
do you take it? Do you take Wikipedia as like provenance in your life?
No, I think Wikipedia is really biased depending on the topic I'm looking at. But like if it's like at all in the political realm or something, like I have like radar up. But if it's
Yeah.
like pure, if it's like
Historical.
if it's about like Game of Thrones or something, I'm like,
Yeah.
it's probably really accurate. Some guy has like dedicated his life to this page, you know, and he just really cares about Game of Thrones. He has no agenda. But yeah, the rest of it's like iffy. No, that's super interesting. I think education is really weird. It's like it's got a similar incentive structure to government to me, because as an education system, your main goal is to perpetuate the system and not fuck anything up too badly, because the benefits of what you're doing are realized like decades down the road, and they're like spread out across society, right? So you're in a situation where like the main thing is to not break any eggs and just keep everything status quo, and just get to the point where they're gone and you're still in your job. And like, yeah, if they're messed up when they're 25, well, that's somebody else's problem. That's society's
Yeah,
problem.
right.
But right now when they're 5, I just have to not do anything egregious and keep the system going.
Well said, brother. Well said. All right, boys. That'll do it, huh?
Good talk.
Yeah.
That's very good.
That's fun.
Will we see each other Friday? Eric, you're in? You're out?
I'm gonna be in Scottsdale.
Wait, what's
Okay.
Friday?
We're recording an episode.
Oh, that's right.
Well, I might
Money
be able to.
episode.
I might be able to do it.
Yeah.
But,
YouTube Live.
I don't know if I can carry all that shit, but
Wire
Wow.
wire in.
There's a small chance it might be just Steven and Nick then.
From the no, you're gonna come from the delivery room. Yeah.
I talked about this. There were people in Discord like, "Are you in the hospital right now?" I'm like, "No. Everything's fine."
He's got his hands out waiting to catch.
Not discording from the hospital. No, but I'll be there if delivery's not happening yet. All right,
Good.
boys.
I want some more NFT alpha from you.
Yeah, this was good. Very fun. Love you guys. Peace. Hope you enjoyed the episode. See you in the next one.
see ya.
Peace.